Hey guys, it's Ryan from Big and Bigger here, and today I'm going to walk you through how to create the lead sound from Firestone in Serum. So there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube already to create sounds similar to this, but I didn't think any of them quite got them exactly right on. And so I got pretty close, I think, in Serum, so I'm going to show you that today. I'm also going to walk you through my intuition sort of for why I made it the way I did. And so before I start, I put together a little composition here with the lead sound just to see how it sounds over the instrumentals here. So let's give it a listen there. Alright, so now let's see how the lead sounds just soloed there. So my intuition here is that the lead sort of sounds like a digital pan flute, sort of. And so for those of you with Nexus, you might recognize this sounding like something like a TAC lead 3 in Nexus. And it very well might have been the case that Kygo used that preset from Nexus, just modified a little bit. But since this is a tutorial for how to do it in Serum, I'm going to show you how to do that. And in fact, these three sounds are also made in Serum here too. And so all four of these sounds are going to be part of an upcoming preset pack that I'm making for Tropical House in Serum. So you'll be able to get all of those sounds in that pack when it comes out. And I'll also make this lead sound preset here available to download. And so the first thing you might notice is that I actually have some effects on that sound there, including some sidechain and compression, but I also have this reverb here too. So I didn't think that the Serum reverb actually played well with the sound, and so that's why I used the external reverb there. So we'll turn it off and we'll go into Serum here too. And so what I mean by a digital pan flute sound is that if you notice, it has this sort of attack that's similar to like a digitalized version of a pan flute, but the sustain is that of a flute in that it's sort of it's soft and it modulates quite nicely. And so let's start, and I'll walk you through how I made the sound here. So just go to the initial preset, and one of the first things that we're going to want to do is change the amplitude envelope to that of a more plucky sound. And so actually that's not the amplitude envelope. If I go to the amplitude envelope here, and I'm going to lower the decay quite a bit and add actually quite a bit of release. And so why I added quite a bit of release here is we sort of want that nice sharp attack, but we also want it to fade out sort of like a flute would. And so for the first oscillator, the wavetable I used is actually my own wavetable that I sampled from my analog synthesizer. And what that is a square wave that turns into a sine wave. So instead of just relying on the filter to cut out all the harmonics of the square wave after the pluck, I actually have it go into a sine wave. And I thought this sounded better doing it this way. So we're going to add 8 voices of unison to this and bring the tune down quite a bit, and also increase the blending here, maybe even a bit less detune. And it sounds very digital right now, but what we're going to do is bring the amplitude envelope to the wavetable position on this. And we're going to find a nice position here. So this is kind of like a sine wave here, but it's also a little more rough around the edges, which I kind of like. So we're going to bring this back here so that it starts from the square and then goes over to the sine wave. So you can see there's actually quite a bit of artifacts around this because it was from my analog synthesizer. But when we add the filter on, it will kind of make it sound more organic and nice, which I kind of like. And so that's the first wave here. We're going to actually end up using all of these here. But for the second wave in oscillator B, what I did was I actually used this saw rounded to square. So it starts as a sine wave, and then as you can see, it slowly moves very nicely to this very sharp square wave. And so we're actually going to add the envelope to this as well, and then bring this down to not quite all the way, just somewhere there. So this is sounding very digital right now, but we're going to add the filter at the end, and it's going to sort of bring everything out very nicely. So what I'm also going to add is the saw wave here and the sub oscillator, just to make it sound a little more full. And so I'm actually going to bring this down a bit, just a bit. And I'm actually going to increase the unison on this oscillator to 8, and also bring the detune down quite a bit and increase the blending, so it's a bit wider, but it's not too wide. So now let's turn on the filter, and we're going to use the MG Low 12 filter, and I'm going to bring the resonance down and increase the drive just a bit. And I'm also going to drag the amplitude envelope over to the cutoff on that. And I'm going to click Alt-Shift and then click that to change it from bipolar to unipolar. And then bring the cutoff down just about to right there, but we want to bring this down as well. We don't want it going all the way when we have the pluck. Actually add all the channels into the filter, since we're going to use everything here. So that's sounding pretty nice already. And so the last thing we want to add is a noise, just to add a little bit more of attack, and just to make it sound a bit more raw or organic sounding. So increase the pitch on that, and also increase the level on that just a bit. So that sounded actually pretty good right now, but we are missing one thing, and that's just a bit more pluckiness to the sound. So we're going to use the second envelope here, and we're going to pull down the release all the way, and we're going to pull down the sustain here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and drag it to the coarse pitch for both of these oscillators. And so I'm going to go to the matrix and change it to unipolar instead of bipolar. And if I press it now, you can really see what it's doing. It's starting from higher, and then it's slowly going down lower. But if I bring the decay down as I do that, you can see it adds this nice little pluck, almost like you're hitting something metal. So when you hit something metal, the pitch starts really high, and then really fast it goes down to the fundamental frequency, which is what we want this to do here. So if I play that right now, so that's sounding pretty good. The only thing we're missing right now is the sustain. And so if we hold down the note, you see it doesn't really modulate much, so it doesn't really give us that flute vibe that we want. And so to do that, what I did was I put the sine wave on LFO1 here, and I made it a bit sharper here too. And so I dragged this to the fine tuning of each of the individual oscillators here, and brought that down quite a bit. And so it's a pretty small change, but it actually makes a pretty big difference here if I play it. And so if I actually hold down the note, you can see it modulates sort of like a flute would if you held the sound there. So the only thing we're missing now is some effects. So I added the EQ, and I put it before the compressor here, and I completely cut off the low end here. And the reason I did that was that because it's a lead sound, I don't want it interfering much with the low ends in the music, and also the mids too, because it can get quite muddy if we do that. So on the compressor, I'm going to put the gain at about 3.5, and I'm going to lower the attack quite a bit, and lower the release just a little bit here. And so if we play it again now, So it's a pretty nice pluck. If we go lower, you can see it really has that digital pan flute sort of sound to it, which is quite nice. And so that's pretty much all there is to the sound. If we turn back on the effects, and so that sounds pretty good. So as I said before, this will be part of an upcoming Tropical House preset pack that I'm making. So stay tuned for that. If you have any questions or comments or criticism, just leave a comment below or need any clarification, and I'll try to get back to you. I'll also make the wavetable that I use there available for download too if you want to recreate the sound on your own. Or if you want to download the preset, I'll add a download link and I'll probably hide it behind something like subscribe to me and you can download it, just because I need the subscribers right now. So subscribe if you like it. There'll be more tutorials in the future, and if you want to see a tutorial, just let me know.